Bang. God bless. Here we go. So, as I always say, I'll try and keep this one short, but it is a bit of a story. So basically, for those who don't know, in Risdon, probably giving away some secrets here, but most people probably don't use this to their advantage, and it wasn't to my advantage, it was to my disadvantage and almost my death for doing so. But anyway, when you're in Risdon and you receive a phone call, the inmate can hear what's being said while the voice recorded message is being played to the person you're calling. You can hear what's being said over that message. If they're on the other end of the phone listening to music, clapping, talking, you can hear it. But they can't hear you while the jail message is playing. God, fuck off. Near knocked my camera over. Yeah, so basically, I'd been in jail for about, 3 months, 4 months. I was in Derwent Bravo, which used to be mainstream maximum. We'll get to that in another video. It's now protection, but anyway. And long story short, I was engaged at 18 and a bit. Foolish, I know. I didn't propose. I just accepted. And yeah, so I'm engaged to this girl. I'm in jail, looking at a very long time. So the prospect of me getting out wasn't high on the possibility scale. Yeah, one day I called this fiance of mine, and while the jail message was playing down her phone, I heard her say, "You've got to be quiet, Kane's on the phone." And then whoever the male was, I know who it was now, kept talking. She goes, "You've got to be quiet, Kane's on the phone." Bang, silence. So I'm sitting on the phone thinking, here we go. I'd never told her that I could hear what's being said while that jail message is being played. So she had no idea that I now knew she was there with someone else, a male. Anyway, the phone call went as normal, just like normal. 9.5 minutes, or 9 minutes, 15 seconds into the call, 10-minute phone call. I just said, "Listen, either you tell me who's there with you right now," because she just spent 9 minutes feeding me lies, telling me she was at home alone, no one was there, rah, rah, rah. I said, "You either tell me who's there with you right now, or when I hang this phone up, we are done. I will never speak to you, treat you, or look at you, or think of you the same way ever again." "Oh, what are you talking about, babe? You're paranoid. Oh, it's because you're in jail, you're just thinking all this shit, rah, rah, rah." And I just said, "Listen, I heard what you said when the message was playing." Anyway, I couldn't get the truth out of her then and there, obviously, because she couldn't accept that I'd caught her out. And basically, once I got off that phone, I hung it up. I walked inside, walked up to the officer's station, asked them to undo my cell. Back then, and I think it's the same now, they have changed it a couple of times, but to no avail, because bad things happen when you leave 26 cells in a maximum jail open for people just to come and go in and out of cells as they please when there's no staff on the floor. They're in their officer's station. Yes, they can see all the cell doors, but if you're in your cell, they can't see anything. And oh Jesus, that wind's going to knock my phone over. So long story short, I've asked them to undo my cell, and they refused because it wasn't lunchtime or bedtime or getting let out first thing at 7:30 in the morning. I leapt up onto the counter and just screamed like a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, swear words, all the rest of it, to undo my cell. So they obliged, undone my cell from like a radio call, phone call, and they go to master control, as they call it, and they've buzzed my door open because everything's electric. I've gone up to I ran up the stairs, went into my cell, and I was just going to pull the door shut and go in there and smash it and carry on and have a cry and get emotional. But unfortunately, as I outlined in other videos, I was at that point in my life where betrayal, people lying to me, and more than anything, my feelings towards myself, my emotions about how people treated me or how I felt when things went wrong, they were out of control. I wasn't medicated. I was self-medicating, and I had an extensive history of underlying mental health issues that were unaddressed, as I said, unmedicated, and for that reason, I struggled to control myself when things went wrong. I really did. And yeah, I've gone into my cell. I went to pull the door shut, and I seen the officer coming up the stairs to make sure my cell was shut. He'd come out of the officer station, and something just switched in me, and I thought, nah, fuck this. And I walked into my cell, ripped my TV clean out of the loft, like the PowerPoint and stuff, come back out onto the top landing, and the officer had just made it to the top of the landing. The stairs, he was still probably 15 metres away from my cell door, but I've just come running out of my cell and launched the TV. I looked first. I'm not saying I was trying to hit anyone with it, because I wasn't. I looked first, but there was no officers in the officer station, like right there, down like a massive drop and about 15-20 metres across the room. And I've just ran out on the landing and just shot-putted me TV straight off the landing, straight across the room into the officer station from the top landing. The officers naturally, you know, got on his radio and tried to force me back into my cell, and you know, I hate this part of it because it's the only part in which I threatened or abused or was actually willing to assault staff that weren't really capable of defending themselves against me at that point. But yeah, he come walking towards me and he was radioing for backup and demanding I go back into my cell for what I'd just done. And I turned around and there was a mop bucket and a broom handle there, and I've just gone bang, snapped the broom handle and just sort of intimidated and threatened him with it. And he's naturally taken back off down the stairs, gone into the officer station, ripped down the security shutters so that no more TVs or me or anything could be thrown in there. And yeah, that's sort of where it should have ended. But unfortunately, once I got past that threshold of caring, I knew I was going to solitary, frankly. I knew I was in trouble. I knew a lot of things. I'd just broken up with my fiancée once I hang that phone. Like, there was a lot going on in my head. And yeah, basically, from that moment until about an hour later, I just completely demolished that yard. Now, you've got to understand, there's 26 of us in the yard. It's the mainstream maximum security division. So you've got 26 of Tasmania's worst, most capable, dangerous, historically violent offenders in one yard. And yeah, once the officer station was secured with a security shutter, I obviously couldn't get back in there or anything like that. But basically, I just went ballistic, smashing everything, smashing windows. I ended up ripping open a fire hydrant that was on the wall, getting the fire hose out, spraying it all through the officers' station, all over all their electrical shit, picking the fridge up and shot putting that and shit, and smashed the microwave, you name it, anything that could be smashed, I smashed it. And obviously this whole time they're screaming at me through the officers' station, telling me to stop, telling me I'm making matters worse. I was going ballistic. I didn't care. My fiancée in my head had just cheated on me, lied to me, and betrayed me. And I'm sitting in jail still looking at doing possibly 5 or more years. So I just was unable to control my emotions. And as I said, unmedicated, underlying mental health issues that hadn't been diagnosed or addressed yet, and my inability to put my future in front of my own nose and feelings, it really highlights, for me anyway, a lot of what goes on with people that find themselves in the positions that I did growing up. I acknowledge I'm an adult at this point, 18 of them. But yeah, basically, at some point, it's weird, you know, because these incidences, they actually changed and reshaped how things take place in the jail, you know, like I'll give you an example. After about 30-40 minutes of me just going spastic, I'm screaming the yard down, no one can communicate with me, I'm not listening, I don't want to stop, And obviously there's people in there that don't want to be locked in their cells for weeks on end because of the damage I'm causing and the things I'm doing. They're trying to reason with me and tell me it's okay, you know, calm down, Kane, don't do this, mate, like you're not going to be able to get smokes, you're going to go to Franklin. They're trying to say all the right things to stop me. But yeah, I was upset, I was emotional, I just lost my shit at this point. I didn't care what happened to me, I really didn't, because I felt like my whole life had fallen apart. These are the things that I want to highlight, like, even though I knew, based off what I was thinking and feeling, if I continued down that road, it was only going to get worse, and I was only going to get in more trouble, and given what I was thinking, I basically went from being engaged, having heaps of canteen, having a TV in my cell, like, jail wasn't that bad at this point, but yeah, I couldn't control myself. I was so upset that basically I just kept going until I was stopped. And yeah, so at some point, as I was saying, with these incidences changing how the jail operates and their standard operating procedures when things like this take place, you've got to remember there's 25 other inmates in this division. These divisions are no bigger than a basketball court, like your standard concrete basketball court at a school, or, you know, they're literally not much bigger than, or they'd be smaller than that. Just with cells and a concrete landing that separates cells from one floor to the next, and a staircase, a laundry, toilet, and an outdoor yard that's 25% of the size of inside. So obviously it's a very confined space. I'm throwing fridges and microwaves and shot putting shit all around the place, and at some point they demand everyone to go to the front of their cells because they're going to undo the cells so that they can minimise how many people are in the yard before the tactical response group is deployed to the division. Big mistake, because the moment those cells were undone, I went to everyone's cell it wasn't about me standing over them, but like, obviously there were some people in there who an 18-year-old ain't going to be able to say, I'm taking your mattress, I'm taking your dinner, I'm taking your pillow, I'm taking anything that could be burned and stacked up in the middle of the yard as a way to keep resisting and keep being righteous. And yeah, I ended up dragging probably 5 or 6 cells worth of shit out to the middle of the yard and stacking it up like a teepee, you know, like, because I was going to set fire to it. We used to have matches and smokes back then. But, you know, that was one part where the older people in the yard, the people that actually controlled the division, because I didn't control the division, let's make that clear, I was 18. I was just going spastic because of what had happened. Yeah, they obviously come to me before they went and got locked in their cells, pulled their own cell doors shut once they were opened, and basically said, Kane, we don't give a fuck what's happened, because I couldn't even say like what had happened. I was just going spastic. I couldn't even articulate why I was so upset, why I was now covered in blood and fucking hematomas coming off my elbow, and like just using my body to smash and wreck, and I was just trying to induce harm upon myself basically, because I was that angry that like I didn't care. I was self-harming and I'd become suicidal over the next 30 to 60 minutes. Just like that. That's the point I want to highlight. Like when you're lying about your mental health all the time, like if you see specialists, psychiatrists, all the rest of it, they can't properly assess you, they can't properly diagnose you, and above all, they can't properly medicate you. So they obviously said to me, like, look, we've all got to go back to our cells because of what you've done. If you fucking set fire to that shit, we're all going to be getting smoked out. We're locked in our cells. There's no way, like, no fucking way. Don't you dare set fire to that shit, because you could fucking end up killing some of us. Like, we're locked in our cells, Kane. And we'll be locked in there for weeks if you do that much damage. If you set fire to that shit where it is and cause that much damage, then we'll be locked in our cells for weeks. Don't fucking dare. That was the one thing I was able to bring myself to regulate my emotions enough to say, okay, that's fair. I understand that. I won't do that because that's not fair on everyone else. However, everyone went back to their cells, bar one, Evan Gleeson, my brother. He would not, he stayed on that land and basically, like, and begging me to go back to my cell, until the last, say, 5 or 10 minutes before they were coming over the intercom threatening to move him out of the division once all this was over and things like that. Like, he didn't want to leave me out there on my own. But I was just at the point where, like I said, it's hard to reason with someone that's become increasingly self-harming and suicidal just like that. Like, something's said, something's done, you hear something over the phone, you hang the phone up and you just go, snap, I don't want to be here anymore. It's hard to communicate and reason with someone like that. But long story short, he pleaded with me, he begged me not to fucking do anything silly. Like, I'd agreed not to set fire to everything, but like, you know, at this point I'm telling the screws, stop talking to me or I'll fucking jump off the landing head first, because they're screaming at me out the shutters, trying to force me to stop and all this shit, and it was just making me worse. Like, I couldn't be told. And yeah, Bevan ended up going back to his cell, and I promised him that I wouldn't do anything like silly, which was half true. But yeah, after about 45 minutes to an hour, yeah, like I said, there's fucking water everywhere. There's shit I've smashed shit left, right and centre. And yeah, the tactical response group have got there. There was only 5 of them. 2 of them come in from the top landing, 3 of them come in from the entry door to get into the unit where inmates and staff come through. And basically, again, like, I'm not trying to brag about this shit because it's fucking foolish. Like, I nearly died this day. Like, I could have very easily died or been made long-term retarded. I guess I am long-term retarded mentally, but anyway. Yeah, when the 3 have come in, they all come in simultaneously. So I'm like, at this point, I've got a pair of shoes and a pair of shorts on. That's it. I'm covered in water. I'm covered in blood. I'm fucking just going spastic. They come through, the 3 that come through the bottom, they've obviously got shields, helmets, tasers, beanbag guns, all gas, all this sort of shit. And the 2 that come in upstairs, same deal. So like, they were trying to, you know, so that I can't see what they're all doing. But I'd already made it up in my mind exactly what I was going to do if any of them come to me front on. I had a doona, and I'd been carrying it around with me for the last, say, 20 minutes. Every time I'd smash something, I'd put it down and do whatever, but then I'd pick it straight back up and carry it around the division with me. Because, again, effortless depth. I thought, how am I going to make sure that I don't just get tasered and it's all over just like that? Like, I actually want there to be a fight. I want to... And this isn't about me trying to hurt people. You've got to understand, I'm trying to... Most people, when they get as angry as that, they inflict harm on others. My go-to my whole life has been inducing pain upon myself. When I get to the point where if someone comes up to me and or slap me or scruff me and said, you do as you're fucking told, I'd probably get aggressive and violent. But overall, if no one puts me in a position where I feel like I've got to get violent or aggressive towards them, it's me that's going to get hurt. It's me that I will hurt. It's me that induces self-harm upon myself. And yeah, basically once they come in, they sort of spread out about a metre apart. They got shields, they got tasers, they're screaming at me, all the rest of it. I'd already had my mind made up that I was going to run at them with the doona and try and fly kick any of them, the one that was closest, with the shield, and then use the doona to throw that on the other one and try and, you know, beat one of them up. These big plastic turtles, the riot squad. But anyway, not real smart, I know. I was 18, so I was quite immature and retarded. But long story short, as I've started going towards them, they're screaming, get on the fucking ground, lay face down, get the fuck down. And I wouldn't listen. I kept sort of like picking my head up and over the doona, looking, coming forward, turning, because they were, you know, trying to surround me. There was 2 above me, behind me. But yeah, I got a bit closer, bang! One of them shot the doona, like with a taser. They send out 2 prongs. And I felt the doona go poof, like that, and I lifted it at the same time it went bang, so I couldn't see. Then I've gone to pull it down to have a look, and one of them was fucking, like, literally a second away from me. And he's just gone fucking bang, hit me with the shield, knocked me flying. They've come running over, started like fucking hitting me with their batons, and like we're wrestling around on the ground, me and 2 of them at this point. One of them's still standing up and he's pointing his taser at me trying to shoot me. Well, according to the Ombudsman's report, mind you, 25 inmates told me that this is not how it went. according to the Ombudsman's report, I was knocked over and then went to get back up, and they engaged me as I was halfway through getting up and, hitting me, trying to keep me down with their shields and their bats, whatever. And then the one that was still standing, who still had his taser, who hadn't discharged it yet, because once they discharge them, they have to smack a cap off the end of it, which has the explosive charge to set it off, and pull another one off and go bang and put it back on before they can shoot you again. Unless the prongs hit you, then they can just keep pulling it every 5 seconds to give you another 50,000 volts. So he hadn't, the one who knocked me over, he shot at me and then basically put his taser in and just ran at me and got me with his shield and whatnot. During this struggle on the ground, I'm obviously fighting like, oh fuck, like I want to get back to my feet. I know I stand no chance on the ground. I didn't stand a chance at all, let's be realistic here, Kane. But I'm fighting, trying to get up. And according to the Ombudsman's report, the one who shot me in the forehead, mind you, one dart hit me there and one dart went through my hairline, like straight through my hairline. They reckon that I was wrestling like over the top of one of them and I got kicked backwards, and he had it like because they have lasers on them. That one of them kicked me backwards, and as I flew backwards like that, he discharged the taser to shoot me in the back, but because my head come backwards, it got me, one went through my hairline and the other one smacked me straight in the forehead. Knocked me unconscious, clean unconscious, just like a punch, or if you fell from a height or whatever. This is not what those tasers do. They are designed to shut down your central nervous system through shock. So like, you see people all the time having their little fits when they get shot with a taser. When it got me in the head, because you don't have a central nervous system in your forehead, well you do, but not like, they're designed to be aimed for centre of mass. Hence why they tried to say it was aimed at my back, but unfortunately because I was flung backwards by being kicked, it got me in the top of the head. Anyway, I've just gone smack, out cold, laying on the ground, you know what I mean? 2 probes hanging out of my head and the wires going back to the taser. By this stage, the other 2 had come down the stairs, and now I was unconscious for, I think it says in the report, 8 to 12 seconds, like just not moving. And they've sort of surrounded me, they're panicking, they don't know what to do, they're not allowed to shoot people in the head, they've never shot anyone in the head, and they don't know if I'm dead, alive, or just having a nap. But anyway, one of them's reached down, put his knee on me, pulled the 2 probes out of my head, and by the time he was halfway through standing back up, dickhead, he's woken back up and realised that I was still not restrained or held up, so I've fucking gone to get back up, haven't I? And I grabbed one of them by the leg to try and pull myself back up. Big mistake. It was all a mistake, let's be honest, but I've gone to grab one of their legs to get back up, and yeah, naturally, the batons and the handheld, the tasers that they can shoot you with, once they shoot you with it, and the strings and the probes come out of it, like I said, unless those probes go into you, 1 or 2, doesn't matter. Unless they go into you, like the first person that shot at me and hit the doona, the probes didn't get me. I believe he smacked the charge off, because once the charge is off, there's 2 inch long, like metal probes that they can force. It's called a dry stun or a drive stun. Not like, it's not probes that they shoot you with. They actually have to puncture your body 3/4 of that inch to get it to do the same sort of thing that the probes would when they shoot you. Well, because I'm shirtless and obviously being aggressive and I've just done all this shit, they've shot me in the head and I've just woke back up carrying on again, and now there's 5 of them surrounding me. It obviously didn't go too well when I woke back up and didn't just roll over and put my hands behind me back as I probably should have. But as soon as I woke up and sort of went to get up, they've just panicked, obviously, because now they're just standing there worried that they've killed me. I'm a boy, I'm 18, but then I woke up and started fighting again. So naturally, they've all just pounced on me, fucking kicking me, kneeing me, headbutting me, whatever they would. I don't know, I don't really remember, because again, they knocked me unconscious, and one of them, at one point, it was actually quite exhilarating, because I've never been electrocuted like that before, but I'll tell you now, 50,000 volts on your body, it's not the same, because I've been tasered times after this, but at that point I'd never been tasered, so I didn't feel them once. It knocked me clean out. When I woke up though, and I started fighting with them, one of them's hit me The other one's hit me, one of them's kneed me, they've tripped me back over, I'm on the ground, and at some point one of them's gone bang and stuck like one of the drive stun tasers into my throat. Fucking hell. I tell you what, if you've ever been hit by an electric fence, you know how quick you jump? Because these probes didn't go in far enough to shut down my central nerve, you know, make me do this, I was going, fucking like, it was electrocuting me, like it wasn't incapacitating me, it was electrocuting me. So like, it made it even harder for them to hold me down and control me, because it was fucking, I was jumping around like Jackrabbit, mate. Like I was getting, like it got me all up under the throat, all down around here. And like, these are just two sharp metal probes that they're meant to like pierce into you 3/4 of the inch that they're long. And it's meant to like, nah, it must have only went in half an inch, because fucking hell, I was jumping around like Jackrabbit. But anyway, long story short, knocked out. And by the time I wake up, I'm about, I was 60, 70 metres away from where I last remembered being, and I was being dragged down the, what we call a spine. My hands were cuffed behind my back, my feet were cuffed behind, like my feet were cuffed, and they were just dragging me, like arm under each arm, and my feet were just being dragged along like behind me, and I woke up in the spine, getting removed from that area, and yeah, I honestly didn't know, at this point, I didn't know I'd been shot in the head. I didn't know how I got knocked out the first time. I really didn't, because obviously you don't, these things go off like a gun, mate. Like you don't, it's not like he's shot that doona, ran at me, knocked me down, and I've heard bang, oh he shot me, I'm out cold. You're out cold, or I was. But yeah, this is the thing I want to highlight. How do you reconcile with that? Like sitting here now telling that story, it makes me feel fucking special, I tell you, because that could have killed me. I could not be sitting here telling this story simply because I let a girl hurt my feelings so much so that I was prepared to induce serious self-harm, or almost, you could call it suicide, because it wouldn't have been their fault if I died. I brought that on myself. I knew before any of that happened that if I carried on, as like the other stories, the other 5 examples I give you in one of the last videos, like I know from experience that if I go down that road, it ain't gonna end well for me, that I'm gonna get hurt, that this is gonna be bad. So how do I reconcile with that now? Like, again, it comes back to me using these videos as an educational tool for people that have come out of prison, people that are thinking about doing things that could lead to prison, people that are in prison right now and their families watch these videos. Like, you got to understand, if someone's at the point where they don't care about their life, their safety, or there's someone that is, because this is a big thing, prior to that phone call, I was on top of the world. Like I said, I had smokes, I had a TV, I had canteen, I had everything. One thing, being betrayed, being lied to, or feeling like someone had done something to me that was so hurtful that I wanted to hurt myself. That's unhealthy. It's mental illness, you know what I mean? I hate saying it because people hear me say that, even like people that know me very well, they, before recently, say the last 8 weeks, when I would talk about mental health and mental illness and the way I used to think and feel and conduct myself, I can see it in their face, I see it in their eyes. They look at you like, you know, whatever sort of thing. But the truth of the matter is this: if you've come to a point in your life where you are self-sabotaging, choosing self-harm, so by choosing self-harm I mean, obviously a lot of people, and I fucking hell, like, this shit used to make me sick and it still does. Just because your feelings get hurt, just because you're so angry that you want to smash things, you want to feel pain, you want to see pain, you want to cause pain, that doesn't give you the right to go and belt someone else, to go and assault someone else. And, you know, like, as much as when that officer come up them stairs and confronted me for throwing that TV and I snapped that broom handle, the only reason I snapped the broom handle is because this officer, I still do call him Forearms if I ever seen him, I'd shake his hand, but like, and I apologise for what happened that day to not only him, but the staff that had to almost kill me to control me and restrain me. Yeah, we used to call him forearms. He got forearms like that. Like, I'm not joking. And I was 18. Like, yeah, I was still built well, but in terms of a physical encounter, he could have, like, if I had, like, said, you know, with my bare hands, fuck, let's go then, cunt. There's every chance he would have engaged me and probably put me back in my cell, because he's a fucking tank. Like, he was a tank. He's a tank. Like, even at his age now, he still has a great physique and is a big man. So it wasn't about me breaking the broom handle because I was going to hit him with it. It never crossed my mind once to hit him with it. It was more about disengaging him, making sure that he understood this wasn't going to end here and now, and to go back into the officer station where he was safe. But yeah, like, I want to apologise again, because like I said in the previous video, people do not see that kind of behaviour once in their life, let alone again and again and again and again and again by the same individual who, on all accounts and basis and appearances, is, and I'm not being arrogant, attractive, intelligent, well-spoken, can conduct himself like a normal human being, normal functioning human being, but the moment something goes wrong in that individual's life, they turn into a turtle. They turn into a donkey. I would turn into a fucking chameleon. I would go from being the most approachable, easy to communicate with, someone that you could negotiate and reason with, to someone that was completely unapproachable, completely unreasonable, and appeared to be mentally ill. These are the things I want to get back to. Like, so for me, it's like I said, how do I reconcile with that? This is how. Doing these videos, explaining to people that if you continue to mistreat yourself and treat this life like it's not important, this blessing we've been given, sooner or later your own mind and your feelings will be so distorted that when things do go wrong, because life's not perfect, things are always going to go wrong. I'm a cheater. I've cheated on every girlfriend I've had except 2. And for me, cheating is a sexual, physical act, not texting, talking about it. Like, yes, that's cheating, but like, in terms of actual cheating, I've cheated on every girlfriend I've had except 2. So these things are a part of life. It's how you respond. It's how you conduct yourself when you find yourself in that position that really defines you as a man, as a woman, and as a human being. As I said, I can't take back anything I've done. I can only rectify my behaviour and make sure that the things I do moving forward are not anything like the way I've conducted myself in the past. Like, and for me, these videos and trying to use my vocabulary and use my experiences and use my intelligence to describe and define what's going to happen, or what has happened to me and what could happen to you if you continue to mistreat yourself and mistreat this beautiful life that we've all been given by doing drugs, doing crime, being a liar, being a cheater, not appreciating the fact that everyone has feelings, and that every action you make towards someone is going to have a natural reaction inside of them. How they react is up to them, but like, everything you do has an impact. Just remember that. And yeah, someone said to me first thing this morning, actually, that, you know, although they think I do a great job on these videos articulating and describing things, they said, have you considered actually encouraging people to go and see their doctor, to go and get a psychologist, or if they haven't already got one, to go and seek out a psychiatrist? And I think that is invaluable information, and I'm very grateful for that person for bringing that to my attention, because yes, that is something that I would strongly suggest. As I said, I've been someone that never was truthful, honest about my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts with the specialists that I was engaging with, whether it was all through Ashley's. Oh, here you go. Like, not many people know this. Actually, next to no one apart from my father and my father's family really know this. I was going to a place called Oakrise when I was 6.5, 7 years old. That is a forensic mental health facility for children. I won't go into details, but same deal. Like, this was before my father died. This was before I ever went to Ashley's. This was before I'd ever stolen a fucking thing. So I'm not sitting here pretending or suggesting that my personal mental health issues and my personal issues only stemmed from the life that I lived after my father died and I ended up in my mother's care, because that is so far from the truth. But here's the thing, I was too young then to understand that what I was doing and taking part in at this facility was actually, they were trying to help me and help me deal with the fact that my father was going to die, but I didn't understand that because I was too young. So my point is this, like, I would encourage anyone, if you feel any of these emotions or thoughts or feelings that I've been describing in these videos, as this person pointed out to me this morning, I think it's in your best interest, long-term, short-term and mid-term, to go and seek help. Because if the only people you're getting advice from are people that aren't qualified to give it, I hate to break it to you, but that's bad advice. Because they may be able to deal with you sometimes, all the time, but that one time they don't, and they say something that's hurtful, harmful, or negative, it really is going to affect you. It may not affect you then and there, but like, you need real help is my point. You can't just take your family, your friends, your partners, people who care about his word, like, because they are not qualified to help you. That's my point. Like, and if you don't engage with specialists and talk about the things that affect you so badly that you know it's basically a mental health issue, you need to get help. And like, it's hard for me because I was such a shallow, closed-minded person that, like, the only reason I ever engaged beyond the age of 11, 12 with any psychologist, psychiatrist, therapeutic service, specialist, doctors, to do anything when it come to my mental health or how I felt, what I thought, what I believed, was because I thought it was in my interest in other ways, not my mental health interest, not my future's interest, not my well-being's interest. Or when I say well-being, yeah, like, they'd say to me, Kane, you're locked in your cell 23 and a half hours a day, you're allowed out half hour. If you want to get out an extra half hour an hour, you've got to go see this psychologist, but that's all you get out for. Done. You know what I mean? That was the only reason I ever engaged in jail and in Ashley's, was to get time out of a cell, get time out of a division, get time, like, get free time doing something other than just existing inside a detention or a prison, a detention centre or a prison. So, as I've described, I never took it serious until I got to the point where I was willing to take my own life every time I come out here into the community and ended up on drugs. I didn't have the ability to take my own history and my own experiences and my own feelings and thoughts seriously. So, yeah. Again, I hope the video has been educational. I understand they're hard to listen to for some people because, like I said, I apologise to anyone, all 25 inmates, all the staff, everyone that had to witness me near die that day because I was a fool, because I was unmedicated, because I was unstable, and because I was butthurt my missus cheated on me. It's not right. Like, people don't forget that sort of shit. You know what I mean? You don't. Like, it's strange for me because I can categorically state that countless people have seen me in similar situations to that one right there, like where they probably think I'm going to die or kill someone, or someone's going to get seriously hurt, whereas I don't have them same experiences. I can't sit there and say, oh, I seen such and such this time, that time, that time. Any time, put themselves in a position where they're going to be seriously harmed, injured, maimed, or potentially killed. So the onus and responsibility is on me to apologise for that, because it's not nice. Like, it's really not. It's not a nice thing. And even more than that, it's a horrible way to live and feel yourself when you don't value your life. So, yeah. The last message for the video is just exactly that. Can you please look after yourself first and foremost? Put everything that you care about and feel strongly about at the top of your priority list. Don't let anyone tell you that your feelings aren't warranted. that your beliefs aren't validated. Don't let anyone tell you that, you don't need a doctor, you don't need medication. If you feel like you're unstable, if you know that you're unstable through your thoughts, emotions, and actions, get help. Because, best case scenario, it's me or you that suffers. Worst case scenario, it's anybody else. Point blank period. Thank you.